about 20 years ago, where during the height of its popularity, every little boy desired this toy, and it was a nightmare for all parents to get this toy for their kids. And it was about 20 years ago where my mom went to this Toys R Us and put her name on on a piece of paper for pre-order. And it was when the toy was released, she had moms begging my mom to take her pre-order, and that's how popular this toy was back then. And that is, of course, the DRAGONZORD. Welcome to my 500th video review. This time we're looking at the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Legacy DRAGONZORD. The DRAGONZORD was one of the most important pieces to a child's collection back in the 90s. Back when Power Rangers was just starting their run, we got the Megazord, and that was awesome. I loved the Megazord. The reason why I got into Power Rangers when I was a kid, because the Megazord looked like Optimus Prime. It had the faceplate, it had the horns, it had just a general badass personal attitude to it, and I loved it. But then when we throughout the first season, when it was showing that the Green Ranger and the DRAGONZORD was coming out, that was a very important part in a Power Rangers fan's life, and the DRAGONZORD became the biggest thing to get. And I did have the DRAGONZORD when I was a kid, as I said in the little intro. But sadly, this is all that remains from it. It was a very cool toy back then, and pretty sad that's all that's left. But now we got the Legacy DRAGONZORD. And I was not initially going to get this when it was first released, just because I don't know, I felt like I was past all the Zords and stuff. But then when I saw this in stores, I saw the package, it automatically brought me back to my childhood of, like I said in the little intro, that when my mom got me this back when in the 90s, and I saw the box like this, it just brought me back right away. The big thick cardboard box, the retro style Power Rangers logo, the big golden DRAGONZORD letters, the cool image on the box. It just very nostalgic, and I knew that I was about to start getting the Power Rangers Legacy toys, because this is awesome. I mean, want to take a quick look at the box here, because this is something really is a big part of the toy, because it does, like I said, it's a very nostalgic looking box. Has the classic Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo there, not the 2010 kind of remastered Power Rangers logo. On the side, you got bio, Secret of Zords on the back. We have the pictures of the DRAGONZORD itself, all the combined modes, which we'll get into a little bit later. Articulated tail now, more of the story. Got a cool picture. There's one thing that's kind of sad, is that this one does not come with the Green Ranger, while back then the only way you could get the Green Ranger was from getting the DRAGONZORD. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's not really that big of a deal. Recommended for 15 years old and up. So, and one thing that was also kind of a selling point of, like, once you get it open, it's not just like cheap plastic insides. It's actually like a thick cardboard. It's not styrofoam. I think they used styrofoam before, but it's like a thick brown cardboard. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's a big thick tray that it all comes in, which is beautiful. I'm not sure exactly how you describe this material, but this is exactly what it comes in, which I love. This makes it very easy to store very ideal for storing your Dragonzord if you don't want it out in the open, if you want it safe in a box. So here we have the Dragonzord out of the box, and man, this just brings so many nostalgic memories back to being in the 90s and getting the Dragonzord when it first came out. A few differences. This is I know very little about Super Sentai, the original Japanese version of Power Rangers, but this was called Dragon Caesar in Zoo Ranger, where it was obviously somewhat based on Godzilla, which I think is partially the reason why I was very drawn to this, because even though I may not have realized it back then, but even the way that the Dragonzord entered the fight scene, it was either like rising out of the ocean or coming out from behind a mountain, very Godzilla-esque. Even stance has, while having its elbows by its side and arms straight out, very similar to Godzilla. Obviously, it has a stance just like Godzilla, staying upright, long tail, dragon-esque head, and being able to, I think it breathed fire in the show, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and this is a heavy figure. While the original Dragonzord was all plastic, this has a great amount of die cast on it. These pieces here are die cast. The feet are die cast. Even though it is kind of like a bad way to tell. Basically, you just need to touch. If it feels cold, it's metal, which is definitely the feet. These pieces here, and I think that might be it. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, the bits of die cast on this really do give it a great amount of heft. And the main thing is it doesn't have any stickers, which I love, because the stickers really did not age all that well on the original Dragonzord. And it's all sculpted in detail, and it's all 100% show accurate. Which is one thing that really bugged me about the original Dragonzord, is that the stickers were not accurate at all. I mean, this is what it was before. Got the silly M here, and we got the more show realistic dragon symbol here. You got lightning bolts on this, lightning bolts everywhere, and it's more. While it looked more like that in the show, and that's one thing I loved. And not only was it's not stickers or painted, but just sculpted in detail. It's raised, and it looks absolutely amazing. One thing that was really a great thing about how they added the sculpted detail, because if you had the original Dragonzord in whole, the only way to really get it show accurate was to get the repo label set, which it was fairly expensive, especially since it was, when it was released, it was a high demand set, and, painstakingly had to apply each sticker on there. Was, not the most ideal way to go about, but the end result was pretty cool. But either you need to get the expensive repo label set, or if you were somehow able to have the original Japanese version of Dragon Caesar, that was the only way to get a show accurate Dragonzord at the time. One thing that kind of carries over from the original Dragonzord that is heavily improved upon this one, but it's kind of a tradition of Sentai, Super Sentai, and Power Rangers, is that the mecha or Zords are not very posable, but this has some major improvements where it counts. The arms have a little bit of movement up and down, and you can get a little bit of wrist movement. Something that's improved is that there's now a wrist swivel, so you can hold his hands like that, which I believe is how he would shoot rockets from his hands. Now, back in the original one, which I can demonstrate with this one, is that his mouth was always open, and you can kind of get a chomping motion with the mouth. But now you can have the option of having his mouth closed, and you can open it a little bit. But for whatever reason, they decided to sculpt the super mode head into the inside of the mouth, while on the original one, you would have to pull this entire upper jaw down to reveal the super head, so you would not see it inside the mouth. But on this one, I guess is just a choice to have that in there for, I guess, make it easier. So when you have the mouth open, unless you have it at certain angles, it is a little bit distracting. And when you start to lower this piece with the eye, but there's that. And go to the legs. He does have a little bit of leg movement, but this one, the legs pop off pretty easily. If you go just a little bit beyond the point, his legs can have about that much movement. His knees, about that much. And his feet actually do have a good amount of movement in them. Biggest improvement, though, is the tail. Now, originally the tail was only about 3 sections long, and it had the bit at the end where the tip, the drill bit, was on a ball joint. It could arc like that. So really, the tail was originally only about that long. Even these pieces, I think, were made a bit longer. But now the tail is 5 segments long, and I think each segment is longer. And you can have it collapse like this, or pull it out and you get a ball joint in the entire tail at each segment, and that is really cool. That's the biggest improvement made on this figure. The tail is super nice. It's long, just like Godzilla, just like how it is in the show, and it's just beautiful. It's the biggest improvement on this figure, and yeah, it's just a beauty to look at it play. Like when I first got it in hands, like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. One thing that kind of carries over from the original DRAGONZORD that is heavily improved upon this one, but I mean, it's kind of a tradition of Sentai, Super Sentai, and Power Rangers, is that the mecha or Zords are not very posable, but this has some major improvements where it counts. The arms have a little bit of movement up and down, and you can get a little bit of wrist movement. Something that's improved is that there's now a wrist swivel, so you can hold his hands like that, which I believe is how he would shoot rockets from his hands. Now, back in the original one, which I can demonstrate with this one, is that his mouth was always open, and you can kind of get a chomping motion with the mouth. But now you can have the option of having his mouth closed, and you can open it a little bit. But for whatever reason, they decided to sculpt the super mode head into the inside of the mouth, while on the original one, you would have to pull this entire upper jaw down to reveal the super head, so you would not see it inside the mouth. But on this one, I guess it's just a choice to have that in there for, I guess, make it easier. So when you have the mouth open, unless you have it at certain angles, it is a little bit distracting. And when you start to lower this piece with the eye, but there's that. And go to the legs. He does have a little bit of leg movement, but this one, the legs pop off pretty easily. If you go just a little bit beyond the point, his legs can have about that much movement. His knees, about that much. And his feet actually do have a good amount of movement in them. Biggest improvement, though, is the tail. Now, originally the tail was only about 3 sections long, and it had the bit at the end where the tip, the drill bit, was on a ball joint. It could arc like that. So really, the tail was originally only about that long. Even these pieces, I think, were made a bit longer. But now the tail is 5 segments long, and I think each segment is longer. And you can have it collapse like this, or pull it out and you get a ball joint in the entire tail at each segment, and that is really cool. That's the biggest improvement made on this figure. The tail is super nice. It's long, just like Godzilla, just like how it is in the show, and it's just beautiful. It's the biggest improvement on this figure, and yeah, it's just a beauty to look at it play. Like when I first got it in hands, like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. Another noticeable difference is the original Dragonzord had a big gimmick in its chest piece here, which is oddly enough still kind of sculpted in there, where it had batteries and these lights would blink like it's very seizure-inducing strobe light effect, and it would make this really annoying alarm clock noise, and it was just god awful. But I mean, and it took a lot of batteries to do that. Oddly enough, the battery compartment is still sculpted into the back, which is hilarious. But I'm glad that wasn't included into the toy because as I'm getting older, I'm not a fan of lights and sounds in toys. I just like sculpted in detail and paint and just and die cast. I like more money spent into the actual design of the toy, not making it flashy. Now, one complaint that the original Dragonzord had was its hands were kind of stiff and boring, but this one actually fixes that. I still really like these hands, but he also comes with a set of alternative hands where he can have these pop off pretty easily, and he can have more of a relaxed hand. There we go. So you can have him a little bit more natural. I don't think, however, that these can actually go inside they're not really meant to go inside the chest at all or the shoulder pieces. So these are really just meant more for looks. They look cool. They look give a much more show accurate version of the Dragonzord, but for review purposes, I think it's best to leave his regular hands on. Not like it, nostalgic reasons too. One thing that I was kind of upset about with the original Dragonzord was that, at least in toy form, he was pretty short compared to the original Megazord. But with the 2010 release of the Megazord and with the Legacy Megazord, which is a repaint of the 2010 one, he is just about the exact same height, which makes me really happy. He's a little bit shorter, but if we actually try to... Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit shorter, but he does feel like he's more in scale. I mean, the original... Say if this was the original Megazord, the Dragonzord came up to about here on him. So just because of the added articulation and just a resculpted mold of the Dragonzord, he's a lot taller, and it feels like he's more on par with the original Megazord, who started out as enemies, so it looks like these could be enemies with each other, and then later on partners, which we'll get into. While we have the 2010 Megazord out, which is compatible with it, it's really meant for the Legacy Megazord, which is a more accurate repaint of this with die-cast bits. We're going to start getting into the combined modes. First, we're going to start with the weaker of the two, which is called the Mega Dragonzord. Which is really meant for it to be combined with Titanus to form the Ultrazord. But let's really get the Megazord prepared. Need to take the shoulder bits down and the ears back, and we'll need to go ahead and take the chest piece off and drop the tail down. And we're done with him for now. Now to start converting the Dragonzord over to Mega Dragonzord, need to pop the tail off. And we'll go ahead and collapse this for now. And take it apart like this. Take out the chest piece. And just for review purposes, we'll collapse them back in. We'll need to bring the hands in like so. And we'll go underneath of the toy. And now this is a bit that's kind of odd. The original one had this one piece that will lift up, but there's two hinges here. And to really get it hooked up correctly, before you push this all the way, you need to push this down, and then you'll hear a snap. It'll lock in place somewhat, like that. And it'll stay there for the most part until you drop it. But yeah, it's kind of awkward, especially when you're doing it for Mega DRAGONZORD. It's a little bit odd and like that. And then you're going to need to go below it and fold out these hinges here. And then we're going to take the Megazord himself. Oh, you need to drop these arms down a little bit too. And oh yeah, and go to the back of the DRAGONZORD's head here. Fold out that piece here. And we're going to just drop it in place. Like that. It takes a little bit of finesse to get in because there's just a lot more getting in the way here. There we go. Make sure those horns are sticking out the back, and that's about the best it's going to get. As you see, the DRAGONZORD's feet already dropped back down. Attach this back. We'll go ahead and bring these back up. And when you have it up like this, you see another little bit of sculpted detail that's incredibly nice, is that you get the Z's molded in there, and as opposed to the original one, which has had lightning bolt stickers there. They're all about the lightning bolts with the original DRAGONZORD. So that was also a major selling point for me. One thing that is kind of odd, a little bit iffy, if you are using the original DRAGONZORD or the original 2010 Megazord, I mean, there's no diecast on this guy. While the new one has diecast, which makes him heavier. There's all this diecast kind of pushing down on this guy, and it just feels like he's going to topple over. But he's staying there pretty solidly. But it does feel like, well, I mean, his legs are spreading there a little bit, so it just feels like it's a little bit too heavy for him. But it's all right. This is, like I said, this is really more meant for the Ultrazord combination. But this is not the highlight of the DRAGONZORD. The DRAGONZORD can combine a different way, which is the coolest thing from the original Mighty Morphin Power. Now, if we're starting back with the DRAGONZORD in his original form, first, just like how you did with the Mega DRAGONZORD, you need to pop off the tail, set that off to the side, separate the chest piece, take it. Now, this is a necessity. We need to lock it back in. And going to fold the hands in. Now, this is the part that really made everyone insane. Watching these two pieces collapse together to form the dragon, the Green Ranger symbol, was absolutely great. Now, we're going to kind of set them off to the side. For now, we're just going to take the blue Triceratops leg here, the yellow saber-toothed tiger leg from the Megazords, like this, and the Mastodon arms. You can leave these bits on or off. I like to leave them on, just like that. And going to go back to the DRAGONZORD here, and just like how we did with the Mega DRAGONZORD, lift these pieces up, form the upper parts of the legs, like so. This is still kind of a weird mechanism. There we go, and it has the same joints that were on the Megazord here, and attach the Triceratops and saber-toothed tiger. And like I said, these will pop off every now and then. So you got that going on. Let's bring them up a little bit more. And then now we attach the Mastodon arms. Wrap them around like that. Now, final bit, just drop the head, mouth down, and raise up the horn. And now we have DRAGONZORD Battle Mode. Now, this was the coolest part of the DRAGONZORD ever. Like, back in the early 90s, when we saw this happen for the first time, seeing what the newest Zord could do with what was previously the first and only Megazord, and combined in this really cool way, was amazing. And when we had that in toy form, it was just icing on top of the cake. And now, back when the 2010 Megazord was first reissued for the revamped Power Rangers line, everyone's first thought was like, is the DRAGONZORD going to come out? Is the DRAGONZORD coming? Is the DRAGONZORD coming? Yes. And it only took 4 years, but he is back, and this is the best way to have your DRAGONZORD. Now, as far as weapons go, you can, let's scoot him off to the side. He comes with this stand for his big power drill, but it's weird. It's very weird. He cannot stand up unless you put it down perfectly, but it's really not meant to be able to stand up. It kind of topples over. I'm not sure why they designed it to have two of its four legs up at an angle and raised. I just don't understand that. And then you take the chest piece here, open it up, and you peg it in like so. And then you'll take the DRAGONZORD's tail. Once I get it unwrapped, collapse it in, and it's going to peg snugly in here. And we open up this hatch here to reveal a handle for the DRAGONZORD Battle Mode to hold, and there you go. Get a little bit more situated, but I don't like him actually. But yeah, you can actually get a great idea of how big he is. Let's see, raise up his hand like so. There you go. He's oh, that's why. But yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, look at how big that tail is. That tail with that weapon attached is probably about 18 inches tall now. So this is how most kids displayed their Megazord and DRAGONZORD together. The other way just felt weird to me. It just felt like just something tacked on. Just, hey, let's make him do this now, and just felt lazy. Well, this was the best possible way to have your DRAGONZORD back in the 90s, and still is probably one of the coolest nostalgic toys of back then. The Legacy DRAGONZORD is one of the most beautiful pieces I've ever seen and had the pleasure to add to my collection. It brings back a lot of nostalgic memories of first getting the DRAGONZORD when it came out in the 90s. And it's just an amazing figure, and I would not really necessarily recommend it for the casual Power Rangers fan. It is definitely more of an adult collector. It's very heavy, it's expensive, and it's just really more meant for people my age that have really started Power Rangers G1, if you want to say it like that, and for big fans of the original series and who love the original Zords as I do, and this is really more meant for those people. But if you're one of those people, you will not be disappointed with this guy at all. As for my as a perfect closing for my 500th video review, I have to thank all my 15,000 subscribers for supporting me, for being with me for these past 7 years now. Wow, when you put it like that, it's really astonishing to think about. This is my 500th review over the past 7 years, and all you subscribers, all my friends I met through here, Wyatt, who I host Primecast with. I met several other friends off here. Some I don't talk to anymore, which is sad, such as Review 64, who just kind of vanished off the face of the earth. Continuously meeting new friends on here. Omar, who I play my video games with all the time. He's a great guy, great supporter of me. Been there for years, and it really warms my heart. Seeing all the people that enjoy watching from the silly reviews to the cool reviews such as this. There's always people there. Sure, some of my videos may not be for everyone, but I still try to appeal to everyone as far as my reviews and just general videos go. And I thank all of you for being there for me as I close out my 500th video review. Hopefully we'll get to 500 more and bring it around to 1,000, but it's going to take a while. But this is a special event for me, and I'm very thankful for all of you. Alright guys, you can follow me at Twitter at twitter.com/SSJAutobot. Get to Instagram me too, SSJAutobot. And you can follow me at Twitch at twitch.tv/SSJ_Autobot. And I'll catch you next time.